It takes 10 to 12 months for the design process to be complete because we are starting with a concept. So you have envisioned for however long years your dream home. And so you've got this vision in your head. Typically, that vision in your head, it's hard to verbalize that vision and then subsequently have the architect draw it. So there is this process of communicating the vision, really understanding your design style. That process in and of itself takes a little bit of time. Now, our recommendation on being able to skinny that down is starting to develop your menu or develop your own record, your files. So visit House, visit Pinterest, and start to put together a collage of your inspiration. So that process of communicating what is in your head and what your dream is, and then getting that on paper takes a while. So then you have revisions and edits because as your builder, we are going to push back and say, why do you want this space? And it is our job to obviously get your dream on paper and then ultimately built. But it also is our job to think about the future. So what is the resale value? And how is this house going to look in terms of curb appeal? Life happens, things change. You're going to be relocated because of your job, or now you're empty nesters and your kids have moved to a different state and you want to be close to your kids and your grandkids. All of those things will be a factor in what happens with your dream home long term. So while it may be your forever home, it is our job to think about resale, about the floor plan, how it feels. So you can think about some of the things that have occurred in terms of design trends. So in the past, you had shotgun houses where the house was built straight back and the rooms were all kind of in a row type house. And then the trend changed to where you had a lot of architectural walls. So you had an office space and you had a separate dining room and you had a separate great room and a separate kitchen. And now the trend has been to have more open space. And so we are very much aware of those trends and also what is going to be a timeless feel. So you might have something in your head, and then as your builder, we're going to come and say, okay, let's think about this. Let's make sure we have multi-purpose spaces. So if you're like, I have to have a yoga room, well, let's make sure that that yoga room can also be a bedroom if you need to move, or all of the things we just mentioned. And so that takes time. And then finally, once we've got through the revisions, then we need to get to structure. Okay, so the first part of the design is just that. We're just designing. Okay, we are not talking about the structure and the structural integrity, and that has to be engineered by a certified engineer. And they're going to say, this is the amount of steel that you need in your home. This is how the foundation has to be structured and positioned on the plot. This is the type of framing. And when you get into real specifics, when you have a lead home, we'll talk about lead in another episode. You might have to do a specific style of framing. So all of those things have to be called out on the plans, because when it's time for our subs and vendors to actually execute on that design, we want them to have the scope of work that is very clear. It's crystal clear and precise. So all of that journey takes about 10 months. There's ways to shorten it. And I just gave you those recommendations, which are put together your house account, put together a Pinterest account, really be mindful of what it looks like in the future, and then let us all put it together. And then, of course, you need to have your interdisciplinary team at the beginning of the process. It's just another example of the difference, and we are here to help.